Hey guys, I'm back. This time with the Like a Prayer CD rarities and collectibles around the world. This album has some really interesting stuff that's been released worldwide, and I'm only going to show you the official items, no bootlegs, no counterfeits or fakes, just the real stuff released from the record company. So this was a really interesting album and it spawned some great hit singles around the world. So I want to show you some of the pieces that were released. Let's begin with the Pepsi commercial, which was a 2-minute commercial that was released to promote the Like a Prayer album and Pepsi, of course. It was pulled only after 1 or 2 airings worldwide due to the controversy of the video, so only very few people got to see it. So we'll start off with looking at some of her more collectible CDs from the Like a Prayer album. Now, it's not every release that's available, of course, as they look almost identical. I wanted to choose something that looks different. So here's a US promo CD, which has like a gold glitter effect, and it says there, promo only, not for sale. These are really difficult to find because they're the first copies that were issued in the US and only really sent to radio stations and DJs to play. So they do cost a pretty penny as well, as there aren't too many around, but they're really cool and very collectible. The next item is a nice little Japanese version of the CD. Here's you can see the obi there. It has a bit of translated information, track listing. There's an image of Madonna, a sticker, and also just a little bit of writing about the album itself. And apparently these were scented. First copies. I think I can still detect a scent. Here is the regular Australian edition. You can see there's an embossed logo for Australian market. Now the album was titled as Spanish Eyes on the original CD, and these look virtually identical to the international releases. Now we move on to a really desirable item. Here's a Japanese promo CD of Like a Prayer album. You can see the great titles there. It says there, not for sale, it's a sampler CD. You need to pay attention to the logo and the titles on the cover insert and on the spine, because there are a lot of bootlegs out there. There's one more recently that uses the wrong titles as well, so you need to pay attention to all this detail that's on the insert. These are incredibly hard to find, and most people didn't even know they existed for a while until they surfaced out of Japan. Here's a very limited picture CD, limited edition picture CD that was released in Germany. There you can see that the Spanish Eyes has been retitled to Pray for Spanish Eyes, as this is a later release, released in early 90. Came across this in a record store by accident, actually. Open that up, you can see that it's a really nice picture CD. Very rare. These are almost impossible to find. Very few of them were made. I mean, when I bought them at the time in Australia, there were only 2 on the shelf, and I never saw them again after the day I bought them, so they're very difficult to track down. Now, this is the Taiwanese edition of Like a Prayer. Some really cool design and titling on the obi strip to match the front cover. There's a spine there, some more translated information, and on the back, once again, you'll note also on the back there that the track listing is the same as international releases, but they're pretty cool. The nice little obi, and it has a great little fold-out booklet. Now we move on to some of her rarer items. The Japanese edition of 1983 to 1989, Madonna, which is a sampler CD. It's a compilation CD that features a lot of her back catalogue, including the songs off the Like a Prayer album. Released in 1989, and spans back to 1983. These are incredibly rare and sought after. Then another one was released in 1990 with slightly different colour background. Once again, it changes the track listing to the newer songs that were released at the time. This one has Vogue and Keep It Together. Beautiful items, very sought after by Madonna collectors, and they are very expensive. They're often referred to as her Asian treasures. Now moving on to something else that's pretty cool and collectible. Here's a long box of the Like a Prayer album on CD. The first copies of Like a Prayer were issued in a long box in the US only. Here's a sealed copy. You can still smell the patchouli oil, patchouli scented. There's a track listing. These are really cool, and yeah, they are becoming a little harder to find purely because most people would rip open the packaging and throw it away, including the record stores would do the same thing just so they could keep preserved space in the record store. So they're not too easy to track down nowadays. Now to one of her most glorious items. It's a special promo press pack released in the UK only, the Like a Prayer box set. So this one is sealed as well, but I will show you what's inside it. I have some images of what's on the internal pages because I had a second copy that was opened. This is my sealed copy, you can see. It's a beautiful little package. Once again, the track listing is there, and down the bottom there it shows all the promotional details. Now let's take a look at inside the box. So once you open the package, you'll see there's a CD, cassette, some rare transparency slides, and an enamel badge along with some other paper goods. Paper goods are a nice bio on textured centered stock. There's a couple of press images, photos, press photos. As mentioned earlier, there's a sealed cassette and a lovely little enamel badge, which is really quite collectible. Not all of them came with it, some of them get lost with open copies. And also there's a digital copy of the Rolling Stone magazine that Madonna appeared in at the time. So let's move on to the first single, released off the Like a Prayer album. And we're going to show you a clip from the Like a Prayer video, which is a banned video due to the controversial nature of the video itself. It was really well shot, check it out. That video made her single shoot to the #1 position, and surprise, surprise, it was a really well made video. So let's take a look at some of the singles released for Like a Prayer. Here's the long box, released in America only. It's a little 3-inch CD that sits in the open pocket there. These were released in this special packaging for a limited time. There's a little fold over wallet to house the CD in. So most people would tear that open, place the CD in the wallet and throw the rest of the packaging away. So unfortunately these haven't survived. There aren't that many around, and they are difficult to find. It's quite a nice little package. It's difficult to find a sealed one like that one you just saw. So we'll move on to the Japanese long boxes. So you can see the nice design and the translated information on there. So Japan issued Madonna's singles at this time in a little 3-inch CD format, which is really cool. Europe also released her single as a 3-inch CD format. Here's the special wallet that it comes in by the record company, and there's some remixes of Like a Prayer. So you want to try and find them in the special WEA blister pack, as that's what protects the CDs. A lot of them have been lost and don't come that way anymore. Here's a German CD, reissue CD for Like a Prayer, features some remixes of Like a Prayer. Then we have the second version of the CD with a mustard coloured sleeve that has different mixes and different club dance mixes of the song, which is pretty collectible. Something even rarer is the special promotional CD of Like a Prayer, released in the US. There's a little code there, which shows it's a promotional code. These were sent only to radio stations because they had some mixes on there, especially for the radio stations, including a special dance edit 7-inch mix. I think it's track 2. Only available on this CD, and it's really, really good. It's a great track, and it's impossible to find anywhere else. Not available in any other format, basically. You have to buy this CD. Then we move on to the Japanese EP, titled, you can see the Obi strip there, it's nice translated information. Remix Prayers was the name of this EP, and it compiles some of the songs off the Like a Prayer album, mainly the first 2 singles, so remixes of Like a Prayer and Express Yourself. If you take a closer look, you can see that there. So it's a great little package, and it features quite a lot of remixes. Moving on to the second single, Express Yourself, which was a great club hit. Now, this was one of my favourite tracks off the album, and the Shep Pettibone remix was so well done. Check out the video. Yes, an incredible video. It cost $2 million to produce, by the way. So let's move on to her Japanese snap pack of Express Yourself. With some really cool designs there. It features a 7-inch remix edit, which is just sounds like the regular radio version, slightly remixed by Shep Pettibone, and another track on the B-side. Here's the UK UK or the German 3-inch CD, once again in its special blister pack. That's how you want to get them, in the original packaging, with some remixes of Express Yourself. They are quite collectible, those pieces. Only a few of them were made too. Here's a reissue, 5-inch reissue of Express Yourself, once again with remixes there. The next item is a little bit more interesting. It's the US promo CD that features remixes, including a rare unreleased remix edit of Express Yourself. It's a really cool version. It's the only place you can get it. And it's yeah, a little bit more expensive to get than some of the other promo CDs. You also want to grab this with the, you want to try and find it with the backing insert, with its spine titles and everything. It's a grey plain insert. Not all of them came that way, but the first copies did. So you want to try and track it down. Here's the next single, Cherish, which is a huge smash hit around the world. Madonna did a great video with her Brits, the photographer, who decided to also direct her video. And here's a small snippet of it. The song was a top 10 hit around the world. Now we move on to the singles. So here's a Japanese snap pack for Cherish. It's got a nice little design, this one, like it. This is a little bit more collectible because it's not as easy to find, especially in good condition. And the last 3-inch CD off the Like Prayer album to be released in Germany or the UK is this special 3-inch version of Cherish with Supernatural on the B-side, which is a non-album track. And once again, it has the original blister pack. That's how you want to try and track them down. Here's a 5-inch CD, which is really cool. Once again, it has the Supernatural track on there. This is a nice CD. And we move on to the US promo CD, which has a special edit of Cherish, which you don't really find anywhere else. And it also has an LP version. So this CD is pretty cool. Once again, this one comes with its original backing insert, which a lot of them didn't. So you can see the spine has the titles on there and a plain white backing insert and a spine on the other side. So these are the copies that were issued to radio stations. So you want to try and track that down purely just for the radio edit version of Cherish, which is supposedly meant to be a remix edit by Chef Pettibone. Let's move on to Oh Father, which was a different song released off the Like a Prayer album, more of a ballad and very powerful ballad, along with a very dark video with some disturbing themes. As this song wasn't as popular, there are only a few releases around the world. This one is the Japanese edition of the single, very rare. You can see the Japanese writing on there. Now these are impossible to find and probably one of the most expensive snap packs in a collection. I've seen this go for over $1,000 on eBay and they do command a very high price. It's impossible to find them in this condition as well, as very few of them have survived. So here's the US promo CD with an edit version of Oh Father. Once again, this one has a spine with a backing insert. The great thing about this one, these inserts actually came with the warning information from Warner Brothers. So it's basically just a counterfeit warning. Next item is Dear Jessie. What a great single, only released in some countries. And here's the special animated video that was created specifically for the song to be released in Europe. This song was also released in only certain territories around the world, mainly England, Germany, and Australia. So here's a special Australian edition. These CDs, you can see the Australian music logo there. Very hard to find. The Australian CDs are a little harder to find. It says they're made in Australasia. Only because they didn't produce very many. Rather than importing them from overseas, they for a short time produced their own CDs, and that one's very collectible, especially being a rare single like Dear Jessie. This is the ultra rare picture CD for Dear Jessie. Now these ones are very expensive and really quite rare. They have a wonderful image of Madonna. It has a very special, it has a different code to the regular release. Yeah, so it's one of those items that you do probably want to add to your collection if you're a serious Madonna fan, purely because it's one of the most collectible and desirable. Here's the standard German UK edition, which is just normal CD. Now it's time to take a look at the last single released off the Like a Prayer album, Keep It Together, which was a great single. The video they used to promote the song was live footage taken from the Blonde Ambition tour. Check it out. And now we'll take a look at the CDs. So here's a Japanese EP with a nice obi strip. This Japanese item does compile a few of the remixes of Keep It Together, but it also has Cherish, the extended version, which is not easy to find on CD, as it wasn't released as an extended version in every country, including America. Here's a Japanese single of Keep It Together with a nice little design there. It features 2 remixes of Keep It Together. This is also a little bit more collectible, purely because it does have, it's one of the rarer singles, and so was not pressed in great amounts, so it's very collectible. This is the US promo CD of Keep It Together. Track number 2 has a special 7-inch remix of the song, so it's not the single remix that was released in all the 7-inch singles around the world. Here's a spine and the backing insert, which you do want to try and find with its original insert if you can, because not all of them came with this backing insert. But this one does have a unique remix edit of Keep It Together, so it's pretty cool. We want to track that down. And here's a regular US single release. There's a code number there. This was a compact disc, Maxi Single as it says, and it compiles a number of remixes of Keep It Together. And it's important to note that there are some different versions available on the Japanese CD than there are on the US, so you may need to track both of them down if you want to compile all the remixes on CD. So just a reminder that all the US promo CD singles that were issued for the Like a Prayer album all came with a special backing insert. Only the first copies have them. You can see there's the spines. You want to try and track them down that way in the original formats if you can. So I hope you enjoyed my video for the Like a Prayer Collectibles. Stay tuned and I will be back with more.